So I am in the middle of all of this wood and materials to make some low tunnels. This is actually a prototype of a mobile low tunnel that I'm constructing. And earlier in the season, I used this thing, which is a hoop bender, to make a bunch of these metal hoops out of conduit, cheap conduit, half-inch conduit. And these are about 4 feet wide at the bottom. And so this is going to be a 4 foot by whatever 3 lengths of this are. It's a little bit less than, I think this is like 44 inches or something. So the plan is to move this out to the vineyard and then put it over beds that are in between the rows of grapes in the vineyard. And that way I can get some starts going, grow greens and maybe some things like carrots out there, and not have to worry about rabbits, and also get a season extension or the 4-season harvest potentially out in the vineyard. So we're just going to see how this works. I've got a bunch of old plastic from my hoop house replacement. I had to replace the plastic already once on the hoop house, and I've got all this old plastic that, you know, parts of it are torn, but there's big enough pieces that I think I can continue to use them and use them for these low tunnels, which just are not going to take up that much plastic. And it's a good way to reuse the plastic until it's fully done, because I don't really have anything I can do with it right now. I want to find a source to recycle it. So the plan now is to make one long board out of these smaller pieces of pallet wood by scabbing them together. And that should be good enough. Do it. Oh, there's Banjo. I was wondering where she was. So I've got one side of the low tunnel frame scabbed together reclaiming that pallet wood. And now I've got to make one more. And this side here might seem like it needs something. It's actually going to have a strip that goes along here to hold the plastic on, because this is going to be the outside. So it'll actually have some supported framing on this side of it and give it a little bit more strength. Alright, so I got my 2 boards scabbed together, and then we're just going to tack these other boards onto the end there. And I've also got these supporting pieces that are going to go in the corners just to give it some extra support and strength side to side. And I think once I get the hoops on, they're also going to add a lot of strength to the structure. So that's what we're working with. So I'm just going to put this 2x2 in here for a little bit added strength in the corner. So I've finished all the corners now, and the framing is all intact. And I've just placed this hoop in place so I can look at it, and you can see it's way too tall. I don't want the plastic to go up that high, so I'm going to cut some off of the bottom of it And yeah, and we'll make it shorter. I'm not sure, maybe it looks like about 8 or 10 inches off might be good. I think I'm going to cut a couple more inches off of them. I think that seems a little more reasonable height. I don't want to make it too high because I don't know if I have sheets of plastic that are quite that big. Well, this is a good vantage point to see the variation in the shapes of these hoops that I made with the same device. But they're all cut, and I don't think it'll be a big problem once the plastic is stretched over them. Now I need to find the little brackets that attach the conduit to the framing, because they are lost somewhere in my shed. This is a different way of doing it without the sort of braces. Just putting 2 screws in through, drilling a hole. And that's probably the way that I'm going to do these end hoops. But the reason I did this was because I ran out of these. I actually had gotten a larger size because I was thinking about doing the 3/4 for at least one of these hoops, but I didn't end up doing that. Just did the 1/2 inch for all of them. But I think this will work just as well. Okay, so I'm going to disassemble this frame and take it out to the vineyard and reassemble it there. This project has been kind of like doing a little bit, getting interrupted, doing a little bit here and there, getting interrupted. So I've been doing this for like a couple months now, at least. And now I'm getting down to the point where it's a nice day. It's November, and there happens to be this one last nice day left. And so I'm going to try to get the plastic on this thing today. And what I'm doing, and the whole impetus for this project, was to make use of some extra pieces of plastic that I had from replasticking my hoop house. I also have the old plastic from my hoop house, and I want to reuse that. That unfortunately has some cuts and slits in it, and so I thought I'd use this newer stuff first, and then once I get to the point of making more of these, I can make use of the older stuff, and I can probably find some in there that doesn't have cuts and slits in it, and if it does, then I can repair it with some tape or something, and we'll see how that goes. But I thought I might as well just use the newer stuff first. So that's what I'm doing, and I'm gonna staple, sort of put a line of a board to tack this plastic onto the long sides of this this low tunnel, and then I'll do one side and then the other side, and then figure out some way to attach the end. I'm gonna actually just wrap the plastic around the end instead of making a separate piece. I think I'm gonna just have to eyeball it and try to get it as perpendicular to plastic as possible. So these staples are basically just to hold the plastic in place, I'm gonna try to fold it over a couple of times so that it really holds on well, and then I'm gonna nail it or screw it into the framing. One of the things that I'm really looking forward to about this low tunnel is that currently I can't really plant certain crops out here in the vineyard because of the rabbits and potential other pests like deer. And with this thing, the rabbits can't really get into it. So I figure I'll be able to get an early start, a good jump on the season by getting stuff planted earlier because of the microclimate inside the low tunnel, but also the rabbits won't be able to get to anything. So potentially I can plant things like carrots, some other crops like beets that I couldn't grow right now, because if I tried to plant any of that stuff, it would just get devoured by the rabbits. So it looks pretty good to me. Just got to secure the end pieces. One low tunnel built. All I have to do is put those wheels on the handle, and then it will be a mobile low tunnel. It's actually really light too. It's gonna be easy to move once I get some wheels on it and a handle. So we'll have to see how it works, but I think it's gonna be nice to have this thing. Even though I do have a big hoop house as well, I'm looking forward to this because I can till up these beds, or I can just sheet mulch them and then move this mobile low tunnel over them and plant whatever I want in there.